My sixth favorite album, I'm going to mispronounce this, is Oranzi Pizazu's Mestarin Kinsi. I know there's a translation for what that is, but I don't remember what it is. This is metal at its most psych space, doom, weird, trancy, avant-garde. Like Oranzi Pizazu are a subgenre in and of themselves. But my sixth favorite album of 2020, check it out. It is the perfect soundtrack for a dystopian society like the one we live in now. All right, check it out. Peace. Greetings and welcome back to my channel. I'm Shaggy, the opinionated hippie, currently ranking and reviewing every single Frank Zappa album released while he was alive. And we are now on number 39, Fillmore East, June 1971. This was released in 71. Recorded in 71 at the Fillmore East in New York City. It is a live document. For the most part, I don't know if there's edits involved. I mean, there are some obvious edits involved, but the sequencing of the tracks as it is on at least side one and half of side two are as they were normally played by this band. So Frank kept the sort of sequence intact, which kind of had to be done because this is the Flo and Eddie band. With Mark Volman and Howard Kalin from the Turtles on vocals and humor and doing lots of stuff. The amazing Ainsley Dunbar on drums. The Turtles bass player Pons is on bass after Simmons quit. You got Ian Underwood. Don Preston was at the Fillmore East show, so he's here. So it's a pretty good band. Frank is the only guitar player, which is cool. So all the guitar that's being played is by Frank and only by Frank. And I like this album a lot. There are three things I really, really, really don't like, which kind of puts it towards this end of the list. But I enjoy it when I listen to it, and it's one of those albums that I think has gotten better as I've experienced more Frank, because I compare this particular songs on this and Frank's guitar playing style to other things. But anyways, just rambling. So the first side, it opens up with Little House I Used to Live In. This is a different version than was on Burnt Weenie Sandwich. I think the intro is a little different. There are various parts throughout the song that are either longer or shorter or whatever. Flo and Eddie do a lot of singing in this. They do a lot of just random noise making. To me, it works. I like it. I think the Burnt Weenie Sandwich version is better, but I love this live version of Little House I Used to Live In. I think this is just a phenomenal song. I love to hear this band do it. Ainsley Dunbar, ladies and gentlemen. But it's a really, really good song, and it's a great way to open up the album, even though at the end of this video, I have a better way to open up this album. And that is followed by the thing I do not like about this album and the reason I do not listen to it, and that is a song called The Mud Shark. So the Mud Shark is, the music is pretty good. So I don't want to get too far into this, but Little House I Used to Live In used to be part of something called The Return of Hunchback Duke. And that would start off with Little House, and that would go into a really cool vamp that would turn into Holiday in Berlin. That would go into a solo that included the Inca Roads theme, which is the theme that follows after the solo in Inca Roads. And then that would wander off into a lengthy solo, and usually following that would be, I want to say Sleeping in a Jar, but I don't think it was Sleeping in a Jar. I'll get back to what usually closed that out. But anyways, here you get Little House I Used to Live In, then you get almost what feels like that same vamp, but instead of going into Holiday in Berlin, it goes into Mud Shark, which is Frank telling the story of a groupie at the Edgewater Inn in Seattle, fishing out of the window, catching a mud shark, using that mud shark for, shall we say, groupie activities. There's some interesting music in here. The last minute's kind of cool. Frank starts playing some licks, kind of closing it out with a little bit of improv. But for the most part, it's a painful 5 minutes. It's 5 minutes and 16 seconds. I don't need to listen to it more than once or twice. And it kind of prevents me from playing this album because I know it's second. And I really want to hear Little House I Used to Live In. But then I don't want to hear Mud Shark. But then what makes it worse is after Mud Shark is What Kind of Girl Do You Think We Are, which is Flo and Eddie at their most Flo and Eddiest. This is just a kind of a singing, there's music, there's singing, there's talking, they're going back and forth about being groupies, joking around. I will say that over the years, Flo and Eddie themselves, their sense of humor, their timing, their improv, the way they riff off each other and Frank is highly amusing, and I enjoy it, and I think they're really, really funny. But I don't really need to listen to this all that often, so I choose not to, because it's just once you've heard it once, there's, I don't know, you kind of can't go back to that well too often. That's followed by one of the best three song sequences in all of Frank, Buona Dick, which is sort of a rewriting of the theme from Lumpy Gravy with words, Latex Solar Beef, which is awesome, and then Latex Solar Beef slowly segues into a Willie the Pimp instrumental with guitar solo that is truly one of the best segues in the entire Frank canon. Latex Solar Beef into Willie the Pimp. Phenomenal, phenomenal, phenomenal. That is the end of side one. A Willie the Pimp guitar solo fade out. Oh my gosh, that's horrible. Side two then has a Willie the Pimp part two guitar solo, which is not the same Willie the Pimp. It's from a different solo. Probably from, the late show, early show, the next night, whatever, still from the Fillmore East, but a different Willie the Pimp solo on side two. That's followed by Do You Like My New Car? Another skit routine. This one doesn't have as much music in it. It's just them going back and forth telling jokes. Again, it's kind of funny. There's a lot of in-jokes, a lot of 70s jokes, a lot of very, very dated references, but as someone who gets most of those, I enjoy it. So again, it's not something I want to go back to a lot, but I enjoy it. And then this is followed by Happy Together, the Turtles hit, as sung by Flo and Eddie. This is a great moment. I think it's awesome that Frank included this in the show. They have the entire groupie routine, which is pretty much about groupies wanting to get together with stars who had a number one hit with a bullet. And then to end that entire sequence with the number one hit with the bullet, Happy Together, is just a beautiful thing. It reminds me of Lola, the Kinks' Lola album, how he's going to write a hit song, and then on the album, the hit song that he writes is Lola, which turns out to be like their biggest hit song. And like how genius is Ray Davies for that. But this reminds me of that, only Frank is using the Turtles' Happy Together as that culminating hit that the groupies want to hear their rock stars do. And that's the middle of side two. And then side following that is Lonesome Electric Turkey, which is Don Preston's Moog solo, keyboard solo from a King Kong. And then it's about 2 minutes of that, maybe a minute and a half. And then Flo and Eddie come in with some random singing and you can hear Pond singing, where obviously Frank is conducting them and they're kind of making up noises. This was, I'm assuming, part of King Kong. You can hear Preston reference King Kong in his solo, and for the 71, King Kong was typically played and it had a keyboard solo, followed by Flo and Eddie singing, followed by an incredible sax solo by Ian Underwood, followed by a Frank solo. You can hear an example of the sax and the guitar solo on You Can't Do That on Stage, Volume 3. There's an excerpt in that King Kong, that is some 82 and the 71. Really good song to check out. And then the album closes with Peaches and Regalia and Tears Begin to Fall, which is a song, a Flo and Eddie sort of pop number in the vein of like Charlena, but it's a little more upbeat. It's a pretty good album. I have to admit, for number 38 in his repertoire, it's actually a really good album. The reason it's ranked so far away from number one is Mud Shark is hard to listen to, and there's only so often that you can listen to What Kind of Girl Do You Think We Are and Do You Like My New Car. But other than that, there's some phenomenal music on here. And my suggestion to make this an even better album is, so Peaches and Tears were originally openers, almost always played as openers. A couple times they would have played towards the middle of the set. They always went back to back for this 71 tour. Tears Begin to Fall never made it past the 71 tour. But normally, I have a couple tapes where these shows would start off with what essentially kind of Frank refers to as a sound check, but it kind of sounds like an opening jam. Zonti Serenade off of Playground Psychotics is an example of this, where it was just kind of like noise and very avant-garde, but everybody kind of contributes. And then once Frank is like happy with everybody's sound, then they would jump right into Peaches and Regalia, and then Tears Begin to Fall. To have this album open with like a Zonti Serenade type number, and then Peaches, and then Tears Begin to Fall, and then go into something else, I think would have made the album work better. A song from this tour that had not been released is Who Are the Brain Police? That would have been pretty neat to hear on here, since that has been released officially elsewhere, at this point. Charlena obviously was played here, but you got the Charlena on Chunga's Revenge, so I don't think you need to repeat that. But I think it could have been sequenced better. And maybe then do a Little House, Mud Shark, and maybe end the side with Mud Shark. I mean, if you have Zonti Serenade opener, this sort of avant-garde opener, Peaches, Tears, Little House, Mud Shark, that's a good 20 plus minutes of music. The entire second side could be What Kind of Girl all the way through Happy Together. So you get that entire suite together. It would be really good, but that's not what happened. But anyways, it's a good album. I like it. I think it is better when you know more Frank and you have something to compare it to. Don't start with this album. Nothing, I mean, I don't know, whatever. You can if you want, I don't care. But anyways, Little House is great, and the Willie the Pimp solo, the segue from Latex Solar Beef into Willie the Pimp is one of the greatest things in the entire Frank canon. So even if you don't check anything out, check out the entire run from Buana through Latex through Willie the Pimp. That is just a phenomenal 3-song run. But anyways, yeah, enjoy the album. Check it out. Let me know what you think about this album. Flo and Eddie, they made the list again. All right. 3 of their albums. They only got 2 left released in his lifetime. Let's see where those end up. But anyways, peace. Take care. Happy holidays, y'all.